Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, is it time to call Elon once again? Tesla's Bitcoin sale is definitely spooking a lot of people, a lot of investors right now. So, I did have a dedicated video last night about it, but let's talk about it some more. Also, the anticipated ECB rate hike has happened, a little bit worse than expected. And there are other things to talk about this fine morning. So let's get started. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and follow Brand New Clips channel. Good morning, guys. Welcome. I am back home. It is 8:30. That means I got my trusty morning open bell, the best one in the industry. Good morning, guys. All right, so there's a lot to digest. So you could see the U.S. market just opened. Interesting enough, Nasdaq is in the green. Netflix numbers was actually a little bit better than expected. Tesla's numbers were better. Although they were bad, they were good, but came in a little bit less than expected. But overall, I think it was still good. But of course, it was revealed what Elon did when he said he wouldn't do it. But we'll see. But right now, you know, Dow, S&P, a little bit in red, Nasdaq in red. It's going to turn to red. It's going to turn into green. Let's see. And then this number just came out. Jobless claims numbers rise. So let's look at that. Jobless claim rise again in another sign that labor market is cooling. Okay, so this is something that Powell said he wasn't really worried about, although he can't guarantee. Him trying to slow down the economy, he made many mentions that the labor force is strong. Unemployment is low. There's more than enough jobs for everyone. That's what he kept claiming. Right, but now we're starting to see a lot of companies start laying off people, stop hiring people, even the biggest ones out there. Microsoft just came out and said they're kind of going on a hiring freeze right now, right? So it makes sense that jobless claims are going up. People are unemployed at this point, right? But Powell says this should be okay for the time being. Should be because of how strong the labor force is. I guess only time will tell. But right now, this one, not looking good. All right, so let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is struggling to hold on to that 22.8. Unfortunately, it does seem like yesterday it was looking good. Last night it was still looking good. We were above that 22.8, but a lot of talk about Tesla and what happened with them, right? I don't know. It spooked the market way more than it should have. It may not be the only reason, the ECB, their decision and stuff, but right now, Bitcoin is right under that 22.8, but could break right above it, right? I made mention of this last night because I had my computer on, and when I left for my vacation a week ago, Bitcoin still had 19.4. So, relatively speaking, a week, we have been like a little bit over a week, we have gone up more than 10%, 15% for Bitcoin. A lot of altcoins have gone up much more than that. So overall, still looking good. We're still on the uprise, right? And I will get to more Bitcoin goodness stuff in a little bit. The other big news of today has to be this. Christine Lagarde already said that the ECB was going to start raising its interest rate, just like the Fed, the U.S. Fed. And many people thought that she would raise it by 0.25 or 25 basis points, and it went up by 50, right? And 50 doesn't seem so scary since Powell already did a 75 basis point, right? Now, the question mark will be next week, will Powell go to 100 basis points? That'll be really, really high, but who knows? Who knows if it's going to happen? I don't think so, but right now you can't put anything. You can't discard anything really. But the ECB did this, so they're raising this time, and also another time in September will be 50 basis points, will be 75 basis points. It does seem like they're not trying to front load, which a lot of economists think is the best move, is just to front load, right? Get it out of your system, do like a crazy rate hike, right? And then slow it down rather than a slow trickle effect. But I don't know which one is better. Obviously, she's not front loading, but this is the first time in 11 years. So inflation, still definitely an issue around the world, not just in the U.S. and in Europe as well. But the good thing is maybe it's starting to come down. I saw this. Gasoline prices are starting to come down, and many people feel like the $6, per gallon in the U.S. that we saw recently could be the peak. And now gas price is coming down to about $5, and many think that it's going to go down to $4 in the future. So that's due to lower demand and also increased production. So that's good. That's fantastic. This is one of the reasons why the markets have been doing well recently. It's because, excuse me, man. All right, a lot of phlegm. I'm sorry. This is the reason why a lot of people have been buying in, thinking that inflation is going to go down because energy prices are coming down, gas prices are going down, right? So June we know is horrible. July is much better. So many people think when CPI data comes out for this month, right, it's going to be good because it's going to go down because energy price is going down. Energy makes up a big portion of CPI. So that's fantastic, I guess, right? No one cheers for high gas price. So this will definitely help. And what also is helping is Russia did open up that Nord Stream pipeline. So now fears of a total shutdown for Europe, that's out of the window, at least for now, unless Putin changes his mind. So these are all fantastic things, right? It's not all doom and gloom. There's good things that's happening right now, right? So we could see inflation peak before the end of the year, start coming down, and if the labor force is still strong and tension in Europe doesn't escalate, well, we could definitely see some major greens, some more rallying before the end of the year, right? A lot of things starting to line up, so to speak. It's still very early, though. Still very early. All right, now, as for the market spooker, I don't even know if that makes sense. So back in March, Elon swore that he would not cash out any Bitcoin, anything that he was holding, right? But obviously, he did not stick with that. Elon is not a holder, but to defend his actions, he has to make sure that the balance sheet for Tesla looks good, right? His main focus is Tesla right now. So even though he swore not to sell any Bitcoin, in Q2, sometime after he made that statement, he sold 75% of Bitcoin holding within Tesla, around 936 million, close to $1 billion. Okay, so they still have $218 million of the Bitcoin left, which is still significant, but 936 million. Now, many people are wondering, why did he do this, right? If the richest man on earth and one of the biggest tech companies on earth decides to sell $1 billion of the Bitcoin, people pay attention to it. They want to read into it, read in between the lines, trying to get the honest truth out of this, right? According to Elon, he only did this because he needed liquidity due to the COVID shutdown of the Shanghai plant in China. So China had another, COVID outbreak. There's a lot of shutdowns. And because his other gigafactories were not operational yet, the Texas one in Austin and then the German one in Berlin. The Shanghai one was very important, and that was shut down. So Elon says he was very, very, very scared of liquidity, right? And yesterday I covered this. Me, Kevin, kind of laid it out. If you look at the total cash that Tesla holds, it's about 800 something million. So had Tesla not sold its Bitcoin, its cash would be negative. It would have not looked good at all, right, during this Q2 earnings reporting. So what he said is true. They needed liquidity. They needed liquidity bad, right? And that's why they did what they did. Now, Elon says this is not, don't read into it. This is not because he thinks Bitcoin is garbage, or this is not an endorsement to sell Bitcoin or anything like that. He says in the future they could buy Bitcoin back, but right now they need the money more. They need the money more. So that's kind of like the story behind this, right? Now, before we know, Elon has moved Bitcoin's market before. Last year, remember when Tesla shut down Bitcoin payments, right? And then Elon tweeted out that it was over ESG concerns. Yeah, that brought things down. A lot. This time around, I'm not so sure if this is this is all that devastating. A lot of people will start hating on Elon. Maybe we should call him Elon again. A-hole plus Elon. That's what I used to call him. But, he has to do what he has to do for his company, right? It's obvious he's not a Bitcoin holder. Not like Michael Saylor, who kind of trolled Elon yesterday a little bit. And CZ also wants to remind us that, we see up to $100 billion worth of Bitcoin being traded every single day. So someone selling 1 billion is dropping a bucket. Yes, I do agree with that in terms of overall volume. Selling 1 billion is dropping a bucket. But if you told me that someone's going to sell $1 billion worth of Bitcoin on Coinbase, spot Bitcoin, yeah, that's going to hurt. That's not going to just go away, not going to be washed out, right? So hopefully this was done OTC market. Although if you look at it, I can't help but notice, if you look at Bitcoin right here, right, you know how Bitcoin was kind of trending between 31 and 29,000, 28.6, right? We were there for quite some time. What caused this big dump right here, right? All of a sudden we broke down and then we went down to the 22 mark, right? Basically where we are now. What caused this big dump right here, right? It makes you wonder if that was due to Tesla selling $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Hopefully not on the spot market, but that's when they sold. They sold right at 29,000, which is right there, right? So it makes me wonder if that had something to do with it. But also there was other things going on with Celsius and so forth. So probably a number of things going on there, but timing is very particular. All right. But with that said, you know what? Does Bitcoin really need Elon? No. Right? Does Bitcoin need Tesla? No. Right? I think obviously with them on board, it's great. Great to see that, we have major companies and major players that really believe and hold, but just because they're out doesn't really mean anything. Bitcoin is not meant to be held by the ultra elites, right? And big corporations, really meant for people to be holding, right? And the people are definitely holding. They are definitely holding, which is why I've been showing charts like this. Addresses holding above 1 Bitcoin continues to skyrocket. All-time high. It just keeps going up. It doesn't come down, right? So the people are definitely buying in right now. So that's fantastic. It's not just Bitcoin. Here's another one, equivalent one for ETH. Number of ETH addresses holding at least 1 Ether, 1 Ethereum. All-time high. Keeps going. Not stopping, right? So there are definitely a lot of people that are coming into the space, understanding what Bitcoin and ETH are about, and many other crypto, right? Especially what's going on around the world. These are all fantastic. Or what's going on around the world is not fantastic. But getting involved with Bitcoin, digital currency, wallets, blockchain, self-custody, and holding on things that are non-sovereign and not controlled by anyone, right? These are important things, So good to see that we are still roaring up with these kind of metrics. And also, lastly, there's just a few other things. The two levels, I saw this, the two levels that we really care about for Bitcoin is this. I don't know if this is really, really the two levels that we care about. There's many other levels, but this is broken down in an easier visual format. I did mention about going back to about 29, 30,000, right? That would be in a range pre-drop to 17,000, right? With Celsius, with Elon now that we know that they were selling, and Voyager, all that brought us down, right? But, we were hovering there for a little bit. That is another important level to get back up to, right? And obviously, holding above our previous high of 20,000, right? That's an important level. So kind of two levels that most people are looking at right now. But, there are a lot of models like this that shows that Bitcoin is still oversold, even though we came up slightly from 17 to 22,000. If you look at the weekly RSI, you look at the monthly RSI, we barely turned. Definitely a lot more room to grow, and there are many models like this that compare us to 2018 and even 2015, right? And how we are about to reverse. So maybe that 17K was bottom, but we won't know until enough time has passed. That's how it always is. You just don't know. Even on these charts, you could see even once Bitcoin has formed bottom, if you look at 2015, right? Once Bitcoin hit bottom in that January 2015, it went sideways for months upon months, right? Almost the entire year before it went up. But that was bottom. And the same thing in December of 2018, when Bitcoin fell down to 3,000, even after it was there for months before it started going up, right? Doesn't mean just because you found the bottom, you just go skyrocket back up. Usually when you find bottom, you stay there for a long, long time. So that could mean that we'd be at this point for a little bit, maybe for several months, 6 months or more, right? But like I said, no one really knows. No one knows until we're out of it. And that's why I encourage everyone to DCA, so you take the guessing out of it, right? All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Overall market cap, we're still above $1 trillion. That is significant, 1.03, right? It's a good, large, round number, and let's build upon this. All right. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up here. Trey says, yeah, selling the BTC will be viewed negatively, even though there's nothing wrong with it. Any of these institutions that bought BTC would do the same thing. Yes, if they needed liquidity badly, they probably would. If Microsoft and Amazon, if they bought billions of Bitcoin and they needed liquidity, they would do the same thing. But, Elon is a different animal, different cat, I guess, right? I don't know if anyone says that anymore, different cat, other than Mark Cuban. But, he has said good things about Bitcoin. He says he's a holder. SpaceX owns Bitcoin. He personally holds Bitcoin, right? We kind of thought that he was different, but in this case, he acted in the best interest of Tesla. But it doesn't mean that we can't call him Elon for it. All right. I'm 45 and live in my grandma's basement. I'm not sure if that's something you should tell people. Let's see. I'm still scrolling through the old comments. As for SpaceX holding, someone's asking Nick. I have no idea. SpaceX is a private company. He doesn't have to disclose, so no idea. Dave says, bad news 90% of the time in crypto. This sucks. We will get through it, Dave. Things are already improving, okay? Even though we're not back to all-time high, things are improving. You got to realize that it sounds like you got in at the very top, right? So you got to flip the narrative and think that now you basically went back in time. You went back in time by a year or years. So now you can pick up things cheap and dollar cost average and bring your cost average down lower. So when we go back to previous highs, you will be in the green. You'll be in way, way, way in the green. That is what dollar cost averaging is about. And everyone wants to buy low, right? And we are definitely much lower. So flip the narrative, flip your thinking, your mentality. You want to actually cheer when things are low and become fearful when things get high, because that's when you should actually take profits. Nathan, yes, he does seem to have 10 kids with several different women. So I saw this TikTok video, someone interviewing Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is not friends with Elon, but somehow he has his phone number. So he said he tweeted Elon saying, congratulations about your kids. And then Elon tweeted back saying, Mars needs people, or something like that. I thought that was pretty funny. Bitcoin will go sideways 6 to 12 months between 20 and 29K. Yep. By the way, news on KuCoin, everything's solid. I haven't heard anything bad about KuCoin. They seem still to be solid. I mean, I think most of the big companies that were exposed to CryptosRUs, I think they all came out already. Right? I think the devastation from CryptosRUs already happened. So fingers crossed that we don't hear more companies or projects go under because of it. But right now, it seems like things have stabilized. CryptosRUs, although they were very far-reaching, their reach only goes so far. And they have now everyone that has suffered from it, right, basically cleansed the system. The projects that became too risky or the ones that should not exist, now they're being filtered out. They're being cleansed, right? And we can start over fresh. Best way to think about it, the situation. But of course, many, many people have been burned because of it, and that's not good. But we'll see what happens with these bankruptcy hearings, whether or not they're going to have a good plan to give money and crypto back to the people. JJ, you know what? I could actually play it today. I know a lot of people have been begging for my XRP video, the most educational video ever created about Ripple and XRP. And there's been a lot of news about them recently. Chris Larson recently just said that, Bitcoin needs to change its reward mechanism. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, I got that in store for you guys. NASDAQ is still green. Bitcoin, you could see, still trying to cling on this 22.8, right? But definitely going in the right direction. But man, it makes me wonder, like this big drop right here between 29,000 down to where we are, now makes me wonder how much of that was due to Tesla's Bitcoin sell. Darren, finally got my hardware wallet and starting to transfer crypto into it. Well, congratulations. I think right now, definitely very good time to learn about hardware wallets, right? And if you want to learn how to use a ledger, or a non-custodial wallet like Trust Wallet, go to CryptosRUs.com. Free guides, comprehensive how to use guides. Just search for it. Coinbase Wallet, right? I mean, there's a ton of wallets out there. So check them out. They sold at Cal. They sold at 29,000. They said it, but no one knows the wallet address. They did not release that. I think Elon just aligned his idea of BTC being very energy consuming as actual ownership BTC. I don't think that was it at all. He knows about energy usage already. I think he's just basically he needed money. Tesla needed money. Wallet 3 has identified as a Coinbase wallet. There's some rumors. They didn't sell because I covered that already. Basically, a lot of it was moved to different wallets. And now people are wondering if it's just their internal wallet from either Gemini or Coinbase or whatever. No one really knows at this point. But they haven't sold. It's just in different wallets right now. Jeff, thank you for that. Do you think U.S. trucking, do you think Cadena has promised project despite the price now? I don't know what you mean by that. Has they fulfilled their promise? No, they're not done yet. They're not done. All right. I'll help you there. Benez, whatever your name is. Elon needs Chris Larson. He needs Chris Larson in his life. Then he'll just go full swing into XRP. Alts decoupling from Bitcoin? Sort of. I mean, Bitcoin dominance is still holding at 42%, which is still pretty low. Previous bottoms for Bitcoin from previous bear markets, Bitcoin dominance is at like 70%, man. 70+%. This is the only one that we have been through where Bitcoin dominance is not 70%. It has not risen anywhere close to it. It shows you how strong altcoins are, right? So this narrative that some were spewing out like, oh, all altcoins need to die before Bitcoin can come up. That's not going to happen. There are a lot of bad altcoins out there for sure, but there's a lot of good ones out there, and they don't compete with Bitcoin. That has been my argument all along. So I don't know why the maxis have to keep attacking each other. But going back to the dominance point, all previous major sell-offs, bottoms, Bitcoin's dominance is like the 70 percentile, and it's not anymore. Interesting. And some of it you could argue, well, maybe because people have their money in stable coins, right? And maybe some of that is true, but you look at Tether and USDC, the two biggest ones, if you add them together, it's less than 12%. So even, let's just say, argument 12% right there. And you add 12% to Bitcoin, that's still 54%. It's still not back into the 70s, right? So there's still a ton of strength just in altcoins alone, mostly because of DeFi, because the expansion of DeFi, and people are still participating in liquidity pools, locking in their liquidity, right? Ethereum obviously is much bigger now, and there's still a lot of money in bridges and so forth. So altcoins are definitely here to stay. Have they decoupled? No, but they are much, much stronger now versus previous years. Tesla needs money. He's going to battle with Twitter. Yeah, it sounds like that was an ill-advised move. Maybe it was a marketing ploy, but offering $44 billion for Twitter, in hindsight, of course, now is a horrible move. But maybe he'll win. Hello from Yura, Slovenia. Welcome, Technoland. The Voyager situation, you still have to wait. I did see Celsius, they said that stupid claims form they wanted people to fill out. I saw that they said that they're going to come out with another form that'll be easier to understand. So you have to wait for that. But basically for both companies, Voyager and Celsius, what they're proposing is not set in stone. They have to get approval to do what they're proposing. So you just have to wait it out. But this whole forms thing, I think, is ridiculous. Celsius should not force people to fill out a form to get their money back. They already know everyone's accounts, right? They should automatically distribute it back. But you know, I don't know if it's more complex than that. They need to know people's like addresses and stuff like that. Because they didn't force KYC before. I don't think Celsius forced KYC before. If they did, then they would have all that information, but I don't think they did. Where do you see VET going? Going good. It's going good. It's going to great places. Let's just put it that way. They're getting the word out in the West, and that's what they need. And they're still developing their DeFi ecosystem with their new stablecoin, which is what they need, right? They need to get into DeFi and need to get in things more, I'd say, like consumer-based stuff, right? Because they were so focused on business to business stuff. So they didn't get a whole lot of attention. Now they're reversing course. Johnny says, getting ready for keto. You know, keto and intermittent fasting, if you could stick with it, the best combination for weight loss that I've ever tried, right? I'm trying to get back into it, but of course, going on vacation in an all-inclusive resort, it's hard to stay on keto, okay? So I'm trying to get back into it again. But I've been making progress, losing a little bit here or there. But Johnny, hopefully you can stay with it. Crypto rat, that is very inappropriate. Okay, very inappropriate, but hilarious. Any type of diet works if you stick to it, sure, but there are ones that make it much, much easier to stick than others, okay? For example, I hear a lot of people talking about a carnivore diet, which is similar to keto, but basically you skip out on even vegetables and fruits, and you only eat meat and fats. Like, I can't stick with that. That just sounds like hell. And that's something I don't want to ever stick with long term, right? You could also become a vegetarian, you could become a vegan, but there's no way that I want to skip out on a delicious burger or steak or something like that, right? So there are certain diets that just makes it livable, like you could actually stick with over long term. But there are certain ones that makes it much harder. But obviously, if you stick with just not eating, you could just not eat for 60 days. You'll lose a ton of weight. You could do that too, right? You stick with anything, you could lose weight. What do you think about Shiba Inu? Did you purposely spell Shiba differently, or did you misspell that? Their third floor partnership, I have no idea what that is. Shiba Inu is fine, all right? If you believe in Shiba, they're trying to get themselves out of being a meme coin. And I think they're making good progress, but they're still a long ways off from some of the other L1s out there. They still need to get their layer 2 out, their metaverse out, and whatever this third floor partnership is. I'm in the middle of a 24-hour fast. I do this once a week. That's pretty good. I never thought about that. Vegan keto. That sounds like it's impossible. Like, you just can't get enough protein if you're a vegan. I don't know. That just sounds really, really hard. Hot in Miami, my friends. It was hot in Cancun. It was like 98 degrees. Luckily, all 8 days I was there, all sunshine. And then now it started raining when I started leaving. So that's what I do, bring sunshine everywhere I go. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall, U.S. markets, okay, kind of sideways. NASDAQ green, everything else red. Bitcoin down a little bit from yesterday. Obviously, big news for today is the ECB rate hike, but no one really cares about that. What people care about is Elon and Tesla selling Bitcoin. People do not like it. They do not like it at all. Elon, we thought was different, that he believed, but we now know he's no Michael Saylor, and some people would argue that's a good thing. So, but we'll see. We'll see. The saga continues, right? But the important thing to remember is Bitcoin doesn't need Elon. Bitcoin doesn't need Tesla. Bitcoin doesn't need any of these big guys, the ultra elites, okay? Bitcoin was created by the people, for the people, and the people are still buying in and staying strong and focusing on the future. That's what's important, right? So, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And since so many people have asked for this video, here you go.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.